This presentation is designed to help support you in your development of the technology-related scaffolding project. I want to begin this short presentation by talking about an experience I had recently that involved a lot of scaffolding in order for me to accomplish my goal. And it went like this. One day my washing machine started to make a very unusual grinding noise. And when I went to go investigate, I noticed when I lifted the lid while the washing machine was on that the agitator, that little thing inside that paddles and moves the clothes around, that agitator wasn't moving at all. The washing machine was going and there was a grinding noise, but that wasn't moving. So I went online to YouTube and I typed in washing machine grinding noise. And I got back a very short but very helpful video that just had a video clip of a washing machine with the exact same problem. They opened up the lid, grinding, agitator wasn't moving. And then in the comments below the video, somebody who sounded like they knew what they were doing had mentioned that they thought that the agitator dogs needed to be replaced. And I had no idea what that was. I thought that's pretty cool though. I'd never even heard of something called an agitator dog. So I went online and I did a search and I found out what agitator dogs were, these little plastic things that keep the rotator thing moving in one direction. And I went online and I found out that I could order them for $2.49 for a package of 4, which apparently I needed 4. And another website showed me exactly how to put it on with arrows and clips and how to remove the pieces and replace them. And in very little time I had my washing machine fixed, and it only cost me some of my time and $2.49. And now I know what an agitator dog is, which just, that sounds like a craft beer or something, but so I'm now an expert in fixing that part of my washing machine. But I'm telling this story because I'm somebody who went into the experience of the learning experience of wanting to accomplish my goal, and my goal was to fix my washing machine, but all I knew is what the problem was. I had no idea how to fix it. And so I went online and I did some searching, and between YouTube and some web pages, I was able to find out what the likely problem was and how to fix it. So those resources that I was able to locate and take advantage of, the video, the comments under the video, the web pages that had diagrams and arrows and all of that, those would all be considered instructional scaffolds. And just to kind of remind you where scaffolds fit into the big picture of instruction, this diagram on the screen presents our big picture of instructional components or pieces of an instructional experience that are part of a journey for helping somebody learn how to do something. So in this big picture we have the youngster down here who doesn't know how to do something like read or likely repair washing machines. And then this youngster goes into a series of experiences. Things are introduced, activities and information is presented, lots of practice and feedback, and a good review process. And together and collectively and usually in some messy fashion, this can result in that little creature down here growing and learning. There are also other components in the learning environment, though, besides just the fundamental components that teachers tend to spend their development effort on. And these include opportunities for the learner to reflect on what they're learning how to do, communication strategies among and between everybody involved in the learning experience, collaboration, that is the role that somebody else has in sort of walking that learning journey with you. And also there are scaffolds. And so I want to talk just a little bit about scaffolds, since that's the focus and the purpose of the upcoming project. So from the course notes, there is a chart, a detailed chart that describes in detail the basic kinds of scaffolds that are part of a learning experience often. And these include, number one, procedural scaffolds, Those are the scaffolds that help a learner figure out how to navigate and move through a learning experience. There are conceptual scaffolds, and those are the scaffolds that help learners kind of provides a big picture, a meaningful overview for what is being learned and how. And the how is then a big part of the metacognitive scaffolds that might be included in a learning experience. And those include scaffolds related to helping learners plan, helping them regulate themselves through the learning process, and evaluate their progress. Those are called metacognitive scaffolds. There are strategic scaffolds related to how a learner might go about tackling a particularly complex learning task, or to take a complex goal and break it down into smaller pieces. That's a strategic, those could be strategic scaffolds. And then there are interpersonal scaffolds, and those are support mechanisms that are designed to help maximize the success that learners who are in groups are going to have with each other. And so doing something as simple as providing roles for students, specific roles that one student in a group might have, that's a good example of an interpersonal scaffold. So this assignment has you considering ways that you might use technology to help develop one or more of those different types of scaffolds. And so I just wanted to present a couple of real basic examples of technology-supported scaffolds that could, in some situations, benefit learners. One tool that is used by a lot of people in the real world is project management software. And this is software that helps teams of people manage their time, manage their progress, manage the feedback that they need to get, manage their deadlines for delivering certain things. And so this screen just represents one screen capture from a project management piece of software that could be used as both a strategic scaffold as well as a metacognitive scaffold in the area of regulating and evaluating. I think Wikipedia can be used as a terrific scaffold in some situations. For example, if learners are tasked with an assignment that involves, say, reporting on some type of content, they might not know where to begin the process of figuring out what they want to be talking about or reporting on. And there are a lot of different ways to go about beginning that kind of strategic thinking. But one way might be just to send learners to Wikipedia and have them just read an overview of a particular topic that might branch out into other concepts and other terms that they would investigate. You might not want to use Wikipedia as the only means of delivering the information about a particular topic, but it's not a bad tool in some cases to enable learners to figure out how to move forward or how to strategize in a big project. So something just as simple as having Wikipedia available and with some keywords to be searched is an example of scaffold. If you've never been to Wolfram Alpha, you should go. It's pretty cool. It's sort of the brains behind technology like Siri. If you have an iPhone and you talk into Siri and she tries to figure out what it is you want and then provide you with different options. Well, Wolfram Alpha is that way as well. It focused initially on math-related problems. But one really cool thing about this website is that you can go there if you have a math-related problem, whether specific or vague. You can type in what you know about the math problem, and the computer system will return back some possible ways to proceed regarding what the problem is and how you might solve it. And so there is a lot of both metacognitive scaffolding going on, because it can, in some cases, it will walk you through kind of the thought process. It's kind of the like trying to evaluate a proof or something. But it can also be a very valuable strategic scaffold as well. And finally, the last scaffold type that I wanted to show you is one that I I got from a scaffolding site. So I went to Instructables, and that's a site that provides a lot of basic fundamental how-tos. So you could say it's just a giant collection, of instructional scaffolds. But one of the scaffolds that I was looking for was a particular kind of rubric, and in this case, a rubric for assessing or evaluating a particular project. So it's a real generic rubric, but I wanted to show it to you because it's a good example. Rubrics are a great example of scaffolds, and in fact, they cover almost all types of scaffolds. They can be used to help a learner figure out what procedures they should follow, because sometimes the way rubrics are listed, the way they list out the criteria, it hints at how to proceed. It's definitely a conceptual scaffold. It gives you kind of a big picture overview of what's expected, as well as a lot of metacognitive scaffolding, particularly in the area of regulating and evaluating. So if you have a good rubric in front of you, you can use that to help you figure out whether or not you're on track with the development of your project. And I suppose it could even be a strategic scaffold in some way, because you can look at the rubric first and say, okay, this is how I'm going to be evaluated on a project. I can use this information to help me figure out the best approach to take in doing everything I need to do to create all the pieces that will go into this project. So that's just another really good example of a scaffold. And in this particular project, you are going to be provided with some sample sites that you can go to and use their tools to develop a scaffold. It could be something as simple as a rubric, or something as complex as an instructional video, a support video. And the kind of scaffold you choose to develop will all depend on what goals you're trying to support the learning of. And you'll articulate that in your project as well. So good luck and have fun with scaffolding.